So next one, how do we improve our throughput accounting ratio, sir? It's very straightforward, ma. Either you can increase the sales per unit, reduce the material cost per unit, reduce the factory costs, reduce your operating costs, right? Or else improve the bottleneck efficiencies, more bottleneck resources, or enhance the capacities, as simple as that. Any of these four things you can do. Okay. Multi-product decision making. When is this covered in throughput accounting? Oh, nice. They covered this also. Nice. So multi-product decision making. So what if you are having multiple products and you have to take a decision on which product shall we produce to maximize our profits? Okay. Please understand, majority of the students do a mistake in this particular area. So let me explain that to you very clearly. Okay. I think the question itself should be like that only. Let me confirm once. A 1.4 material labor. Okay. Mission time per unit, labor time per unit, weekly demand is given. Oh, this is a good question. So let's do this question very quickly. I told you I'll not do questions from your textbook, but at least some questions are required to be done, ma. Then only you will get the concept clearly. So let me do this question very fast. Okay. Excel is there. We love Excel. So let's do that in Excel. Okay. Okay. So we are having 4 products A, B, C, D. Okay. A, B, C, and D. So there are 4 products in our particular factory. Cool. Sales price is 1.4, 0.8, 1.2, and 2.8. Okay. Then we have material cost and labor cost. Okay. 0.6, 0.4. Then 0.3, 0.2, 0.6, and 0.4. Then D is 1 and 1. Okay. So first of all, I'll give a space here and I'll calculate throughput. Throughput is sales price minus material cost. Okay. So we got the throughput there, and minus labor cost will give me what? Contribution. Assuming there are no other variable costs. Did they tell us there are other variable costs? Machine hour time is a bottleneck resource. Maximum capacity is 400 machine hours each week. Operating cost, including direct labor costs, are 5,440 each week. Direct labor costs are $12 per hour, and direct labor workers are paid a 38-hour week with no overtime. Okay, this labor cost is also wrong then. Okay, cool, no problem. Determine the quantities of each product that should be manufactured and sold each week to maximize profit. And then I'll not be going with the contribution calculation. I'll just leave it alone. Okay, so we got the throughput here. Okay, so technically speaking, if some of the resources are lesser in number, which product would you produce first? Without going into the details of it, just pure common sense, sir. I'm telling you, you cannot produce A, B, C, D, all the products in huge quantities. Some of the resources are limited, materials are limited, or else labor are limited, or machine hours are limited. Something is limited. Then which unit will you produce first? A, B, C, or D? Which product will you produce first? Whichever gives highest profit, that is D. Okay, good. So D is giving me highest profit, that is 1.8 in this particular case. Okay. Chalo. So that is your answer, right? D would be produced first. Now let's understand that is absolutely wrong. So let me tell you why you are wrong. See, what is the limited resource available in this case? Azim knows that. So that's how I teach. You guys are already sure about it. First, I'll ask you the answer, then you will say something, then I'll say that's wrong. Okay, that's how you guys are accustomed to, so that's fine. So machine hours are 5, 2, 3, and 6. So I'll keep it aside. Machine minutes. Now, please be very careful. Either do the question in minutes or do the question in hours. Don't get confused. Here they gave you minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 6 minutes. But at the end, they told 400 machine hours are available each week. So convert 400 hours into minutes. Okay. So 5236. 5236. Okay. Now, sir, please understand. If you work for 6 minutes, what is it? Why is the pen changed to black or white? Acha. Okay. So if you work on mission D for 6 minutes, it's going to give you a throughput of 1.8. But here, if you see, if you work 5 minutes, 0.8, 2 minutes, 0.5, 3 minutes, 0.6. So you need to understand it's not just throughput. You need to also check how many minutes it is taking to give that throughput. Okay. So please be careful regarding that. Operating cost, including direct labor costs, are 5,440. I don't need to know the direct labor and all that stuff. Determine the quantities of each product that should be manufactured and sold each week to maximize the profit and calculate the weekly profit. Calculate the throughput accounting ratio at this profit maximizing level. Okay. Chalo, very quickly, I'll do this question for you guys. See, if I go with this calculation, you told me, sir, first we will produce D. Okay. So if I do that, look at the sales demand every week. I'll take that also here. Weekly sales demand is for A 2000, for B 2000, for C 2500, and for D 1500. Okay, sir, what is the maximum number of mission hours available? 400 mission hours are available each week. That is 400 into 60. That means we have 24,000 minutes. Okay, so first let's see required minutes. What is the sequence in which you will produce? First, you will go with the D 1.8, then A 0.8, then C 0.6, then B 0.5. That's the sequence that you guys told me. Yes or no? Sir, I'm doing the wrong calculation first. First, we'll go with D, then we'll go with A, then we'll go with C, then with B, based on the throughput. Okay. How many minutes do we need for mission for product D? 1500 demand is there into 6 minutes each. Correct? What is it? Okay. 1500 units into 6 minutes. So D is going to consume 9,000 minutes. How much do we have? 24,000. 24,000, correct? 24,000 minus 9,000. We still have 15,000 units, 15,000 minutes left. Then we'll produce A 2000 into 5 minutes. That is 10,000. So how many will we have? 24 minus 9, 15, 15 minus 10, we'll still have 5,000 minutes. Then we'll produce C because it is giving 0.6 throughput. So C means 2500 into 3 minutes, 7,500. We have only 5,000 minutes. We cannot produce all 2,500 units. Sir, you are able to understand? Yes or no, guys? Please confirm. Are you able to follow till now? So I can produce 1500 units of D, 2,000 units of A, but C I cannot produce 2,500 units because I'll need 7,500. I have only 5,000. So I can produce 5,000 divided by 3 minutes. I can only produce 1667 units. Correct? I'll go with 1667. So let's check. Just to make sure that everything is proper. 1500 into 6 plus 1667 into 3 plus 2000 into 5. 24,000 1 minute. Okay, I'll go with 1666 units. Okay, so this is what I can produce maximum. Is it clear till now? Okay, so let's calculate throughput. 2000 units into 0.8. Then nothing is produced here, so 0. 1666 into 0.6 throughput. And here it is 1500 into 1.8. So what is the total throughput that we are getting? $5,299.6, $5,300, sir. Okay, let me do a calculation in a different manner. Ma, this is absolutely wrong. So let's do the correct calculation. Okay. We need to calculate something called throughput per machine hour. So what is the throughput, sir? 0.8 divided by how many minutes? 5 minutes. So per machine hour, we are getting 0.16. So if I copy it right, now you check which is giving me highest throughput per machine hour. Highest throughput per machine hour. C, oh, D only, very good. It is still D, ma. So if I do the sequence now, I'll produce D highest first, then B is the second highest, C is the third highest, A is the fourth highest. So I'll go in 4, 2, 3, 1 sequence. Now again the same calculation. So let me just copy these things down. Okay. Sequence I'll remove because I already did that. So required minutes would be 2000. Okay, sorry, we'll go in the sequence order. Number of units produced also, I'll remove it from here. Okay. So first of all, required minutes, weekly demand. First I'll produce 1500 into how much minutes per unit? 6 minutes. So I'll calculate the remaining. So I have 24,000 total minus 9,000 minus 2 minus 3 minus 4 if I'm going in that sequence. So I still have 15,000 units remaining. Then if I go to produce product B, 2,000 units into 2 minutes per each unit. 4,000 is gone. I'll still have 11,000. Then I'll go for product C, 2,500 into 3 minutes, 7,500 that is. I'll still have 3,500 minutes left. That means 3,500 divided by 5. I can produce only, I'll go with 3,500. So number of units produced would be required minutes divided by machine minutes. Okay, these are the number of units. Now number of units into contribution per unit. Sorry, throughput per unit. Throughput 0.8. Look at this, sir. How much are we getting now? 5,760. Sir, is it clear now? See, from 5,300, we have increased the throughput to 5,760. Why did it increase, sir? How did we increase it? By changing the sequence, ma. Instead of going through throughput sequence, we are going through throughput per machine hour sequence. So we can produce more units of products that give you better contributions, better throughputs. So 5,760 will be the better throughput. And then you can calculate the rest of the stuff, right? Determine the quantities of each product that should be manufactured and sold. These are the quantities of each products that should be manufactured and sold. This is the answer for part 1 of the question. Then they are also asking you to calculate throughput accounting ratio, sir. Okay, so throughput accounting ratio, I can easily calculate 5,760 divided by 2,400. That is my throughput per factory hour, 0.24. And then cost per factory hour, I'll calculate and then I'll do that. Okay, this is TP per machine hour, and then factory cost per machine hour I need to calculate. They gave you already 5,440. Okay, 5,440 divided by machine hours 2,400. That would be 0.2266. So throughput accounting ratio would be 0.24 by 0.23, 1.0506. That is your answer, my dear friends. As simple as that. Is that clear or any doubts? So the difficulty is calculations. Your formula becomes so clumsy after a point of time. You guys should be very good with your Excel. Then only you will be able to crack the exam faster. Okay. Otherwise, tata bye bye. As simple as that. Chalo. I may paste it here, but the problem is that the formula will not be pasted. I can copy it to the class notes, but formula will not come. So TAR, you have divided it with number of minutes. Okay. Yeah, so what? Acha, I wrote it as mission hour. Huh? Okay, cool, sir. No problem. Throughput per mission minute. Here also it would be mission minute and mission minute. Okay. Everything is solved in minutes only. So just the name need to be changed. Thank you for correction, sir. Why is it not getting pasted now? Oh God, come on. Okay, so that brings us to the end of throughput accounting, guys. I'm gonna close this. Don't no. Chalo, what else is left? Target costing and yeah, target costing. Okay, so target costing is very simple. It hardly takes 10 minutes to do the target costing. So let's do that. Keep your mind fresh. Keep these things aside. Drink a cup of water, glass of water, whatever you want to call it, sip, whatever it is. Okay, keep your mind fresh. Let's start with target costing. So what exactly is this target costing all about? You know, please understand that there are two types of pricing your product. To determine a product price, there are two methods. One is market methods, and the second one is called as cost methods. So basically what you can do is you can either calculate your cost per unit, add your markup or margin to that, and then say that, okay, my cost is $10, I need $2 profit, so I'll sell it at $12. That is first techniques. We call them as cost plus pricing strategy. Cost plus profit give you the sales price. That is one pricing strategy. But the problem with that is it doesn't work. So why? Because your competitors will not be so lenient towards you, right? Your cost is 10 plus $2, so $12 you want to sell. Your competitor already cracked the secret of reducing the cost. So he's selling it at $10 only. Your cost is $10. It doesn't reflect customers' expectations either. Yes, very good. Right? We customers do not give you, अच्छा तुम्हारा cost $10 है, तुम्हें $2 का profit चाहिए, ठीक है मैं $12 दे देता हूँ. That's not how market works, right? Customers compare the competitive prices and say, okay, you want to sell for 12, he's selling for 10, I'll buy from him. It works only if your product is not identical with your competitors. If you have some product differentiation, then you can go for cost plus strategy. You can say that, okay, my product is different from them. I'm going to sell at this price. If you want to buy, else go there, no problem. But you should have a separate product. You cannot sell the same product at a different price compared to your competitors. So if at all you are dealing with homogeneous products, identical products, you cannot fix your price based on cost plus strategy. You will have to take a sales price based upon the market factors. From this, deduct your required profit. Then you will get the maximum cost that you can incur. Okay, this will be your target cost, maximum cost, or else we can call it as target cost. Then compare it with the actual cost to get the target gap. Okay, so this is what target costing is all about. Target costing says first you determine the sales price depending on the market factors, eliminate or deduct whatever profit you want, required profit, then you will set a target cost, maximum cost that you can incur. So your cost should be aligning within those maximum cost. If it is more than that, then you have to understand, you have to do something called as gap analysis. What is it? Gap analysis, like variance analysis. Why is the target gap is there? Why is your target cost $10 but your actual cost is $11? Why is $1 extra? How can I reduce that $1 and fit within my target profits? That's simple as that. Okay, so let's see this. It's as simple as that, very straightforward, nothing to do there. Look at the steps here. First step, target price is set, then target profit is deducted from that, target cost is derived, then the cost gap is calculated. Then we will try to follow techniques in order to reduce the cost gap, value engineering, or else just in time, or else TQM, whatever strategy you want to adopt. We'll talk about them later. In APM, we'll discuss in much detail, but we'll identify the cost gaps and identify the reasons for those cost gaps, and we'll try to negotiate with the customers or whatever it is required. We'll try to do that to reduce the cost gap as much as possible. Closing the target cost gap, estimated product cost and target cost, the difference is the target cost gap. We try to reduce it. So how do we reduce that, sir? Materials, can we eliminate some of the raw material? Can we substitute it with cheaper raw material? Can we reduce the labor payments, or can we increase the productivity? Volumes, can we increase it? Can we make savings by changing the supply chain management techniques? Whatever it is, ultimately reduce the total cost. As simple as that. Look at this question, ma'am. Company C is currently considering expansion into manufacturing 2 new products, a printer and a digital camera. Company C normally uses a pricing policy of 10% markup on the standard prime cost on its product. Sir, prime cost is what? Material plus labor. On that material plus labor cost, they are adding 10% markup. Markup is on cost, margin is a percentage on sales. Please remember that. Markup is percentage on cost, margin is percentage on sales. However, as both the printing and camera markets are very competitive, finance director is considering using a target costing approach but wants to retain the same markup of 10%. Maximum price the market will support is 200 per unit of the new printer. 60% of the direct cost of each printer is expected to be polymer. Digital cameras, 40% of the direct cost of each digital camera is expected to be software. Minimum price the company C can source the software necessary to make one digital camera is currently 76, which has been built into the budget. On the basis, company C has determined the cost gap between the budgeted cost per digital camera and the target cost per digital camera is 23.7. What is the target cost of the polymer used in the manufacture of the printers? Okay, first let's talk about printers. They're telling you maximum price the market will support is 200. Okay, let me take that. So they're telling me sales is $200 for the printer. Okay, and 60% of the direct cost of each printer is expected to be polymer. Okay, and they need a 10% markup. Okay, the required profit is 10% markup, not margin. Please be very careful. 10% markup. So if I'm assuming my cost to be 100, okay, if I'm assuming my cost to be 100, then markup of 10 will be there. 100 is the cost, 10 is the markup. That means my sales price would be 110. Now do cross multiplication and tell me what is the maximum cost. 200 divided by 110 into 100. 182, approximately 181.82. That is my maximum cost. Out of this, 60% is the polymer cost. 109.09. This is your polymer cost, ma'am. Sir, you should know this 110, 100, which should be taken as 100, which should be taken as 110. You should know that. Then only you will be able to solve these kind of questions, markup and margin. If they give you markup, it is percentage on the cost. So cost is to be taken as 100, then markup will be added to get the sales price. If they tell me margin, then what I will do, sales will be taken as 100 minus profit will give me the cost. Okay. Please be very careful regarding these calculations, ma. Very, very careful regarding these calculations. Okay. Then coming to the second part, what about this thing? Software is $76, which is 40% of the total cost. Okay. Software given as 40% is how much? $76. So what will be the total cost? 76 divided by 40%. 190. Total cost would be 190. Okay. Then they told me that cost gap between the budgeted cost and the target cost is 23.7. Okay, this is budgeted cost. And cost gap is given as 23.7. That means my target cost was 190 minus 23.7. My target cost was $166.3. I should have spent 166.3, but I'm actually budgeting $190. Assuming target cost principle, what is the maximum selling price that companies seek and charge per digital camera? What the hell? Maximum selling price. Okay, they wanted a markup of how much? 10% markup, right? Okay, your budgeted cost is 190. So 190 plus 10%, that would be 219. But market will not do this, ma. Your cost plus 10% will not be followed because they told you based on target costing principles. So target cost was 166.3. So 166.3 plus 10% you have to do. That is 183 approximately. That is the maximum that the market is ready to pay you. Sir, how many of you understood these calculations? I don't think some of you understood it. I think some of you did not understand these calculations. Honest truth, sir. How many of you understood these calculations? Target costing. Swarna understood. That's nice. Good. What about others? Understood? Very good, ma. So target costing, if you understood these calculations, then you are in a good pace. That's nice. Nice, nice. Everybody got it then? Chalo. Then only environmental costing is left, I guess. Okay, if everybody understood it, then the last and final costing technique that is left is environmental costing technique, which I don't teach at all. For your kind information, I never teach environmental costing to any batch, not fast track batches or anything. I don't teach it for regular batches only. Just to give you a glimpse of what we are going to discuss in environmental costing, what is there, I'll just give you a glimpse of it. Numerical problems will not be tested. Hardly they'll test you in one MCQ. Maybe one MCQ can pop out of environmental costing if you are lucky. If you are lucky, you will get one question from environmental costing. That's maximum. So whenever you are calculating cost per unit, whenever you are doing the cost calculations, you need to understand that there are certain environmental factors that you need to consider. You know, every time you are constructing a factory or else every time you are producing a unit, you are actually using the natural resources. You are spending certain natural resources, you are damaging the environment through smoke pollution, air pollution, water pollution, land pollution, whatever it is, different types of pollutions that you are doing. So after a point of time, there might be rules and regulations that need you to rectify the what do you call it, the pollutions that you have created or the damage that you have done to the environment. Government rules and regulations may state that, okay, you need to do these kind of activities. You need to clean the lake near your factory, or else you need to install oxygen cylinders, or else oxygen purifier, air purifiers in your factory. They will definitely, they'll create certain kind of restrictions, and to meet those you need to incur some costs. So these are called as environmental costs. So whichever method you are following, whether you are doing marginal costing, absorption costing, ABC costing, or whatever costing technique that you are following, target costing or anything for that matter, always make sure that you also include the cost of environmental requirements. Okay, so for homework today, when you have free time, only, don't take out time to do this. Just for, if you have any free time and if you are getting some time waste, if you are watching some movie or something like that, then there is this documentary on Netflix, the regarding this oil spill. I am unable to recall the name. Let me just search it once very quickly. Mexican oil spill related Netflix series is there, documentary is there. The Great Oil Spill or something. Deep Oil, Deep Horizon or something. Deepwater Horizon, yes. Deepwater Horizon. So there's this Netflix documentary called Deepwater Horizon. So you can watch it, guys. It's actually a nice documentary. I mean, it's not just a documentary. They made it like a movie, actually. It was very nice. Anyways, you can watch it later. So whatever it is. Anyways, so there are lots of environmental related factors you need to understand. There are internal factors and external factors. Okay. Cost of improvements, all that stuff. Internal costs are there. Internally within the factory, we have to incur these costs. Improving the systems, disposing of the waste, taking back the costs and all that stuff. Regulatory costs like tax payments, etc., etc. Obtaining the permits, pollution permit, all that stuff, certificates and all that stuff. Decommissioning cost, etc. External cost will be like carbon emissions, usage of energy and water, forests, degrading the forest, healthcare costs, social welfare costs. All of these are external costs outside your factory costs. So these are all the different types of costs that are incurred, and you need to make sure that you include all these costs in whatever techniques that you are using, whether you are using input output analysis, flow cost, or activity based, or life cycle, whatever costing technique you are using, you have to make sure that environmental costs are also included in the cost calculations. Now, I know you guys don't know what flow cost accounting is. So basically, flow cost accounting is costing each process in the flow. Okay, material to machinery, to machine B, to machine C, labor, packing, selling. So there is a flow of activities in your organization. Calculating the cost at each part of the flow is called as flow cost accounting. The techniques uses not only material flows but also organization, entire structure of the company. It makes the material flow transparent and involving their cost and their value into three categories: material categories, system category, and delivery and disposal categories. Different categories are there like this. So that's the end of chapter number 4, the biggest chapter according to me in your syllabus. Entire syllabus, I hope this is the biggest chapter, if I'm not wrong. I know we are supposed to do 2 chapters every day, but this chapter deserves an entire day. So don't worry. Chapter number 4 is a very lengthy chapter, so it takes much time. But after this, all the rest of the chapters are very fastly done, because this is the only chapter where you need to switch to a different topic, from ABC to target costing through throughput accounting. Different types we are doing simultaneously. So chapter 4 takes a little bit toll on the brain, but after this 2 and 3 can be completed in like 20-30 minutes hardly. I guess in one topic we can complete these 2, but if you need me to explain in detail, then it's going to take like more time, maybe 40 minutes or something like that. CVP is fine. Planning with limiting factors we just did using throughput, but we'll do it in contribution basis, that is planning with limiting factors. It's going to take not much time. Pricing is very easy. Relevant costing is also easy. Risk and uncertainty is jujube, except for those analysis part. Budgeting is time pass. Quantitative analysis, high-low method and learning curve analysis will be there in that. Learning curve is nice. Log tables we have to follow. Advanced variances is a headache. That's going to take much time. And then these last three chapters are very interesting. These are theoretical chapters, so we can finish them very faster. Theory chapters they are. Oh, divisional performance is there. Okay, here transfer pricing techniques we'll talk about. That's nice. Yeah, transfer pricing is covered here. International transfer pricing is also given. Is there in APM? International transfer pricing is in APM, not in PM. So don't worry about that. Cool. No problem. We'll do it tomorrow. Which topics we will do, Azim? Tomorrow 2 and 3. Let's see. I'm not sure which I'll do. My mood. If I want to do theoretical topics, I'll do 2, 3. If I'm in the mood to do some numerical parts, then we'll go with CVP and planning, limiting factor analysis. Whatever it is, we'll see. As we move further, we'll see. Okay. So with that, I'll wind up for the day, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed today as well. Day 2 of our syllabus as well. Hope you guys are having fun.